Well, my name's John Lamont. I'm the farm manager for GD Mitchell here at West Crichie. Our business is consolidated down here at West Crichie. We were a bit larger and spread out, and we're concentrating in this area at the moment. Mostly arable, cereal crops, spring barley and winter barley, and some peas for our own use. That's combinable peas. And we've also been doing quite a bit of cover crops in the winter, and we've also planted some trees, which maybe some in the background here. We've about 200 fattening cattle, and we don't have, well, we've a few breeding sheep we have here in the background. It's more a hobby than anything. They're very interesting. But we buy about 500 fattening lambs for winter grazing. That's very useful for tidying up the grass. We're about 25% grass roughly over the whole farm. I think, well, the livestock brings the grass, in my opinion. We concentrate on the grazing period for, cheap growth. The livestock bring a margin. They've got to be able to pay their way. The grass then brings an important part to the rotation on the farm. If we are limiting our crops to winter barley and spring barley, we need, something else obviously, and the grass is an important part of that. I find it a very useful rest period for the land as well. We tend to keep it, a short rotation, 3 to 5 years at the most. And there's big benefits when that grass is ploughed up. The land is in great order. Well, we're still learning, that's the first thing I would say. But we've had some really good results. We've been using a ryegrass. That's been very successful. We've had Phacelia and clover mixes. That's been quite successful. We've tried vetch. That was okay. But important through all is timing. You really have to try and get it in as sharp as possible, because any time we've been late, for instance this year we've got no cover crops in, apart from the winter barley, which you can count as a cover crop. But we didn't get any in this year. It was a really late wet harvest, so I think timing is essential. Earlier the better. Regarding machinery, we have a weaving direct drill, which we bought second hand a couple of years ago, well, almost 3 years ago. We're still learning actually about it, but we're also using that to sow on our ploughed furrow as well. Any ploughing that is done. It's been a great bit of kit actually, and it's fantastic for the cover crops because you just go in straight onto the stubble, and it's worked really well. We also have, it's visible actually, we have a pan busting. It's not a subsoiler as such, it's really for busting any pans, and that's been a big help for breaking through any crust that's been created sort of 10 to 12 inches down. So that's our two main bits of kit, plus a set of heavy discs. Sorry, that's the other thing. If we feel that it needs a light disc or cultivation before we go in with the grain drill. Well, as I said, it's mostly we clear the fields after harvest as quick as possible. In our case, we're probably 90% of the time we're putting winter barley in again after winter barley. So after winter barley is quite easy timing wise, because you've got that big window. Spring barley, it really depends on the season. If like this year, it's a late season for spring barley. So it was too late to go in onto the stubble. We've experimented a bit with, as I said, the heavy discs before the direct drill, and we've also gone straight onto the stubble. We're still not sure, to be quite honest. We've had reasonable results with both, so I can't answer that one completely yet. The field in the distance there on the hill, that was actually heavy discs before it was direct drilled for winter barley. It was a bit late, but it's actually coming on quite well, so we're quite optimistic about that one. Oh, a big benefit for the following crop, especially, well, the big success we had, as I said a couple of times, has been with ryegrass. We got a huge amount of green cover for, you know, come February, March, and ploughing that in is a big benefit for nitrogen and also the roots and the organic matter in the soil. And there's also the opportunity to graze the sheep that we have, so that was very successful. The other one, the vetch, was, well, I believe it fixes nitrogen, and there was definitely a nitrogen benefit to the following crop, so that was a big bonus as well. The winter barley we've experimented a bit with spring barley, mixed results, to be quite honest. I think grass weeds are the problem, if I'm being honest. We're not just fixed on that one yet. But no, we did have one very successful field of spring barley last year, so we're going to stick with it and keep going. Well, one of the main benefits is timing. If you're establishing with min-till, you can go straight onto a cleared stubble field. It saves a lot of time and expensive ploughing. Ploughing is not cheap at all, so that's a huge benefit. And it's quite quick. The actual sowing process is quite fast. I feel that's a huge benefit. But I think we shouldn't forget either, but the end result is important. There's no point in doing these quick things if they're not working. So you have to make sure you're getting the yield at the end of the day. And I think in most cases we are, not always, but we're still learning. The spring peas we've been at for quite some time. We originally started off in the early 2000s with a new early variety that came out, and that was really for a cash crop. We then took that forward and realised that, my goodness, we should be using this protein to boost our cattle diets for the finishing cattle. So we're maybe not growing quite so many now, but we're using them purely now for boosting our cattle ration in the winter. But they're a huge bonus to the following crop. Gets an enormous bonus from the fertiliser that's left in the ground. We get a tremendous. We combine them during mid-spring barley harvesting time. They're not nearly as late as they used to be. The variety people have done a great job. And we're also putting a little bit of barley in with them, which tends to hold them off the ground. So we've had a lot of success with the peas, and especially the end result for feeding to the cattle. It's hard to believe, but we've got corn buntings down here now, and I think the bird chap that came round and did the bird count for us last year, he found a lot of corn buntings in the pea crop itself, which is quite amazing. I don't think we had many here at all at the start. As far as the soil itself is concerned, the roots are going well into the soil. That must encourage bugs and the microbes in the soil, and it's a huge benefit. This combined cropping, I think that would be something that would interest us in the future. I quite like the sound of that. I think you could argue we've combined some crops already. We established grass with a barley cover crop. We're growing the peas with a little bit of barley in the mix, so it's another combined crop. And I think there must be a future for other combinations. So that's something worth looking into. I think machinery-wise, compaction is always going to be an issue because machinery is getting bigger and bigger. Although we don't have huge tractors on this unit, but I think we have to watch compaction all the time, especially at the ends of fields and stuff. I think continuing to do things better, if I'm being honest. I would like to take the min-till a bit further. I've been a bit reserved in it at the moment till we can equal the yields that we were getting before, and we are just about there. So want to get better at what we're doing already. We would like to continue on this route that, you know, some min-till or possibly all min-till, and continue with the cover crops. And it's all part of our regenerative ethos, if you want. We like nature in a big way in this unit. We're trying to work with it, but at the same time we're food producers, and we're not going to forget that. So if we can combine the two together for the future and get similar yields as we were before, and enrich the farm with the biodiversity, it'll be a bonus for everyone.